I'm so excited. We're jumping back into it. And something that we've talked about in the past is access to networking, access to opportunities. I mean, that's what Moore's whole shtick is anyways. Mm-hmm. But we've talked a bit about how, especially for younger professionals before they're 21, alcohol is kind of a barrier to entry in spaces where their next job could be or their next networking opportunity could be. And we've been kind of trying to find ways to make that less of a barrier, and alcohol-free solves that problem. What has that been like for you, especially as you all have entered the wholesale space? Have you seen different trends with who is buying and how they're recognizing alcohol as a barrier?
It's been really hard. We're just really truthful that. Yeah. So, we opened 2 retail stores, we launched this distribution business, and we're still gaining our footing. Mm-hmm. Because we, what seems maybe so clear to a lot of us that mm-hmm. Add an alcohol-free option, isn't as evident to others. It's been hard to convince beverage managers to add more alcohol. Alcohol-free wine has been really challenging. Mm-hmm. And I think the argument is, of course, profitability. Would there be enough interest? Mm-hmm. I would take, my stance would be, so I love accessibility. It's actually part of what I do for my day job. I still work full-time in technology, and a big part of my work is accessibility on the digital side. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to try to make this metaphor work. But, when we're doing digital practices, like when we're building digital content, right? We want to build it in a way that's accessible for as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that means adopting certain habits that might seem like, well, why would I need to do that? It's okay, well, there might be someone who's low vision mm-hmm. or blind mm-hmm. or rely on assistive technology, right? And so, well, I don't know anyone. Well, yeah, but you don't know, right? You want it to be usable for new people. And what if it's just one person, right? Yeah. That's trying to access your digital content, your website, your social media page, mm-hmm. but you've prevented them from participating because you haven't adopted these habits. Mm-hmm. I guess my argument, if this metaphor is working at all, would be to a beverage manager, it's okay, well, we're not asking you to buy 30 cases of mm-hmm. alcohol-free wine. We're asking you to buy 1 case, right? Right. Because to have it on the menu mm-hmm. for someone, that's going to mean the world, mm-hmm. right? Or even, from a PR perspective, we're look how good that looks, right? To have an alcohol-free option. And again, we've learned with, opening our stores, there's so many reasons, right? Mm-hmm. Beyond the typical of someone maybe struggling with their alcohol or maybe someone pregnancy. We hear, people on probation. Yesterday or this weekend talked to someone waiting on a liver transplant, mm-hmm. Very specific medications. Yeah, there's so many reasons why this category is interesting to people, mm-hmm. and I think sometimes those who are making the purchasing decisions around adding some of these options to a menu or a fridge or a vending machine or a bar are forgetting that there's I keep saying so many reasons. There's so many reasons why people are interested in this category.
Yeah. Well, it's also interesting too, because if you think about the profitability side of it, and I know this is where we're going to get into our mastermind bit here, but having the options of something that's also ready to pour, so that way your bartender isn't having to spend as much time on a mocktail, or maybe that there's different price options in that way, that it still makes sense for a business owner mm-hmm. to be investing in it. And I also think loyalty with customers is so big. And so if you do have somebody who is alcohol free and they find a restaurant that has something they love, why wouldn't you go back to it again and again? And then also champion that restaurant with your friends who are also alcohol free, or it's an easy place to go for mixed company. It feels like a no-brainer to me. And I also think you want to feel that social camouflage, like you mm-hmm. said earlier. I hadn't heard of that phrase before. And so I know that me as a young college student, I was wanting to be in spaces where I was hoping for a hand up, but I also didn't want to seem like the baby at the party. And so having something that would have looked like a wine and being able to not feel so directly called out with a cup of water when everyone's shaking hands and chatting would have been so cool.